Welcome back once again to Numbers Known, a podcast I made up, but I thought it was a good idea. This is a show where the thesis is that top performers know their numbers. We just want to know the people behind those numbers. I am definitely talking to a top performer today. She needs no introduction. If you have LinkedIn or are alive and are in the SaaS world, you know Diana Marcela Gonzalez. She is the guest today. We go way back. We spent some time at RP together. She's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. I don't know how to.
You say that to everyone.
I do not. I do not say that to everyone. I may say smart or charming or whatever, but you're one of my favorites. I call her Khaleesi, and that's a bit of a long story we might get into. But
and I love that nickname. I have asked people to start calling me that now.
Yes. So I'm biased. This may not be the best interview because I do know Diana pretty well, but I brought 3 numbers today. You brought 3 numbers today. We're going to see if any of them match up, which is always interesting. Would you like to start or would you like me to start?
I can start. What if we do 1 and 1?
1 and 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So number 1 number in my head pretty much every single day is my revenue sales goal. So I have a 350K sales revenue goal for our Allbound line of service. And I obsess over it every single day. I am always thinking about how I can move another thing forward, what I am going to do to get to that number in the quarter, and who I need to be pinging to be able to get to the funnel numbers that I need in order to create that level of revenue.
350K for Q1,
it's an average for each quarter. So that's the number that's always top of mind for me.
So that's close 1 revenue. This always was something that you were, as my mentor a lifetime ago. You explained this pretty well. How much in pipeline do you need to source for that to be feasible to hit?
That's a really great question because usually with a new service, you have really low conversion rates. So you need to generate a lot of deals to be able to get to your revenue numbers. So right now we are averaging like 3x or 4x in pipeline generation to be able to get to that 350.
You were one of the spearheads along with Kendra and Brendan and using Clay at RP for Allbound, which is, you had mentioned it is a new product or service offering. So it's roughly 1.4 million in pipeline coverage. What does that indicate to you as somebody that not only can design systems for this, but that can look at the data and say, we're going to need 5 million in pipeline to be able to hit this number? Or maybe, hey, our conversion rate on these is like 70%. We might only need, 800K to be able to hit the goal.
Basically, the rule of thumb is if I don't have enough pipeline by the beginning of the second month, I'm in trouble. Right? Because our sales cycle is about 30 to 45 days. And so by the second month, I should have my full pipeline in order to be able to get to my numbers. And if I'm not, then I need to do a webinar or join a podcast like this or do outreach or something specific to be able to get to those numbers. The delivery team does have a capacity model. And one of the things that we do almost on a weekly basis is align on the forecast of sales and how that compares to the actual capacity numbers. And basically, there's a trigger point. If we are at X percentage, I think if we are like at 70% of goal or something like that within the quarter, and we haven't closed the quarter, we need to trigger hiring for that particular service line. So it becomes a wider conversation about like, how confident are we that this is actually going to close, or what are the possibilities or the risks around these deals not closing, and then we hire someone and then we have somebody in seat without actual work to be done. So it's a balancing act and a lot of quantitative information based on deal amounts and stuff like that, but a lot of gut feeling also, right? And so when my gut feeling, when my antennas start twinkling, I don't know if that's a thing that you guys say in English, but I know that I need to start poking the bear.
It sounds like a Jenga tower. My antennas are twinkling right now because this is going very well.
Well, good.
Yeah, my first number for you is 5.
Oh, what is that? I have a 5 in my numbers too.
Do you really?
I do.
5 is actually representative of 2 things. Okay, 5 is the number of continents that RP operates across and has employees.
Okay.
right? I think Antarctica isn't one, and
Yeah, sure.
Australia, and to my knowledge, isn't one.
Sure.
But it's also, by the way, the number of minutes after which the chance of qualifying a lead drops by about 75 to 80%. My questions from this are, hey pal, I'm on a podcast, buddy. Love you. 7 is a number, and that's how old he is. Anyway, family's important. Speaking of remote work, literally that's what I was tying into. Couldn't have been a better segue. Somebody that came back into RP, which is a separate thread, and just assumed responsibility, is now the go-to-market director, leads Allbound, is now servicing clients. How do you enjoy remote work and stay so determined and successful and like on topic with what you're doing?
So I actually think it's two different things. It's one, a personality thing, and second, all of the infrastructure that gets built from a people ops perspective that allows us to be the most efficient we can be while working remotely. So actually, on that note, something that I struggle with personally is social connections in an environment in which, I have been working remotely for over 10 years at this point. And so a lot of the normal relationships that you build within your social circles come from work, right? And I don't have that, or at least not that present here where I live, because we all work remotely. So that is a challenge, but I also thrive on independence, and it allows me to focus, right? So working from home, I am the most efficient person I can be. And then I'm just sort of like taking the social piece as a personal thing and doing other things to be able to bridge that gap a little bit. But the tools that we have for communication, I think last year I was like one of the top people that sent Slack messages throughout the entire company. Like, I will send a message to say hi, to interact just on a personal level. But I will also send a message to communicate, to over communicate, to remind you 2 minutes later. Like, I am on comms all the time. And then I know this is really annoying, but like notes on HubSpot, ClickUp being updated, like all of those things are the things that really enable me to be able to be this best version of myself.
You are more than engaged. When I worked with Diana, I was about to take off. You already know where this is going. I was going to go to St. Lucia for a trip for my wife's work. And Diana very lovingly said, just delete Slack, don't work, you deserve time off, whatever. Well, about 3 days into that, I decided there's no way she's going to know. I'm just going to hop into this Slack channel and check on a deal. And as I was typing in Slack on my phone, I see
Rob
Diana's
Jones
name.
is typing. I remember that.
Eyeballs literally everywhere, no matter where I am in the world. I'll let you go to your second number real quick, which may be 5. But the other part of that 5 is like, see if I can make this transition work. It was 5 minutes is like the amount of time like after which an Allbound lead either isn't as successful or loses interest. One of the things I've been seeing a lot, because you deal in intent signals a lot with Clay and with enriching data and with the Allbound approach. Are there internal intent signals as well?
My priority is unblocking people, right? And so like I can sit down on my own time whenever, people are away or have a specific block on my calendar to like actually execute some of the work that I need to do heads down. But if I don't provide feedback or provide guidance or really enable the team to be able to do the things that they need to do, then the bulk of the work that needs to be done is going to be delayed or not available or not working. So that's the way that I prioritize things, just making sure that the number one thing I do is enabling the team, and then sort of like in my spare time, work on some of the heads down work.
Your second number, let's hop into that.
I have a number 3. 3 vacations I have to take a year. Listen, this is non-negotiable for me. I was a digital nomad for about a year right before COVID. So I had to stop that whole thing, and we sort of settled down and, got our things. And also we were really tired from doing the digital nomad thing. And by the end of that year, I was like, I will only luxury travel from now on. So what that looks like is like 3 different vacations per year. And the reason why I think this is so important is because I work so hard, like so hard, like not just from like a length perspective, but like I think really hard, like about solutions, about the best way, about everything. And so if I don't allow myself to actually unplug, and again, I unplug, you will not see me on Slack. I will not be answering emails. If I don't allow myself to do that, then the rest of my year is just sort of off balance and I'm not as motivated or as efficient or as nice to people.
When you're taking your 3 vacations a year, like tell me about them. Are they like a month long each or 2 weeks and like very luxurious? Is there some spa treatment going on? Like how do you unwind intentionally?
There is always a spa treatment. In fact, in my like yearly vision board, I have like 1 massage per month. It's like non-negotiable even if I'm not on vacation. So that's the first thing. So actually, I have a method to my vacations. 1 vacation a year is usually like a few days up to a week to the beach because I love the beach. And that's where I like unwind and yes, have massages by the beach and all of that good stuff, read something, etc. I have 1 adventure vacation per year. So like we went for 3 weeks to Asia a few years ago, or we go usually at least 2 weeks. I mean, 3 weeks was pushing it to be honest, but usually 2 weeks and some level of like getting to know a new country. And then the last one is usually another short one within Colombia, which is where I live, to I don't know, the mountains or like things that we haven't done before. Because if you didn't know, Colombia is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. So there's like deserts and there's snow mountains and there's like pretty much everything you can think of here. So we will probably never go see all of the places. So one of those trips a year is vacationing within Colombia.
I will get to my second number to keep us back on track because I know you're a busy woman. 1936. This is a deep cut.
What is 1936?
It is the year that UPB was founded, which is the Universidad Pontificia Bolivariana, which is where you got your master's degree, right? So
yeah,
after you started into this space after COVID, I know that you were at RP Riverside back at RP. And you got a freaking master's degree in between being online, working, taking these vacations all at the same time. So the questions are like a couple. Why did you feel like you needed to do that whenever you're teaching people and learning more from business than to get an MBA?
Oh, I am going to give you a plot twist. So I actually did all of the courses of my master's, but I didn't actually get my master's degree. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is because I didn't do my thesis. And the reason why I didn't do my thesis was because I wanted to do it in revenue operations and AI. So some of the things that we're doing now through Allbound. And there wasn't any thesis professors that would actually take on that type of work. So that's what happened. And I was like, I actually don't need this title. I have learned or verified all of the information that I needed, and peace out. How's that for a plot twist?
I can't love that enough. I mean, number one, you don't need one to be able to basically walk into any room, in person, real or virtual, and own it. I've experienced that plenty of times. I think number two, that is kind of bizarre. Do you think that's just a function of like the university itself or Medellin, or like, why would they not have someone available to hear? Because you have to go and test the thesis or present it, and they have
no. So there's a professor that basically guides your process through the thesis, and that person has to be knowledgeable about the topic that you want to create your thesis around. Revenue operations, if you think about it as a function, has really developed in the last 5-6 years, and so the academia still needs to catch up, and I would expect that to be maybe a little similar even in the United States. But in general, I mean, how do you learn to do RevOps? You go to courses, you go to webinars, and there's no formal, as far as I know right now, because I've actually looked into this in the past 2 years. I don't know if there's any new developments. There's no masters in revenue operations. There's no career in revenue operations, right?
Just that statement, like them saying to you, there's no career in like revenue operations, therefore we don't need you to give a thesis. You went ahead and proved wrong. You could have been the one to guide yourself through.
Listen, I could have been the one giving the classes. No, I'm just kidding.
You certainly can now.
I will go next because this feeds really well into that last statement.
Go ahead.
My last number is 5. 5 speaking arrangements, live conference style speaking arrangements I want to do in the next 5 years. So I'm 35 now. So my goal is within the next 5 years, up until the point that I turn 40, I can speak at Inbound. Let's go ahead and tag them right here. Let's put some pressure into that business. Maybe Southbound, maybe Scald, maybe something that we put together ourselves. I'm not someone who's very comfortable at public speaking, especially not in like large crowds, but it is something that would challenge me and that I am so razor focused on because I've sort of like drank the RevOps, the Rev Partners Kool-Aid, and I think about democratizing revenue operations and now democratizing Allbound. And so I just feel this fire in my body to like share everything that we do and how we do it and the success stories. And please vote for me for the next Inbound conference.
You can. I think you should. I think if I can speak into that at all, part of me not preparing you as well today was that if you are prepared, if you have the opportunity to take 10 to 15 minutes or whatever is needed, you are unbelievable. And there's a sense of confidence that comes with that. But you're as good on the fly. I'm just trying to let this insane interview be a lesson to you can show up as yourself and absolutely knock it out of the park. Last number is 68.
68.
Yes. And that is for 68% of all B2B stats are made up.
That's probably true.
Well, but these aren't, right? So the back to reality is 27% of B2B leads never get contacted, or only 27% of B2B leads get contacted. Another number, 27 to 40, is companies that combine inbound and outbound into Allbound, as you do, grow revenue 27% faster, and they cut acquisition costs up to 40%. We already went over 5, which is 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, the chance of qualifying a lead drops 80. 78% of buyers go with the first company that responds. I would think you would put that as like to one or multiple intent signals. And then inbound leads cost 60% less than outbound, whereas outbound produces bigger deals. All of these are very much in the purview of what you try to orchestrate with both. So this is your sponsorship moment to shine of like, why Allbound is it? I've seen posts recently that are like, Matt Furman had a good one. That's like, it's not one or the other, it's both. They work in harmony. A new age AI and everybody being online requires a new approach. Tell me about Allbound.
Yeah, for sure. So fun fact, I am actually the Supered Allbound strategist. So I'm very well aware of what we're doing with Supered. And essentially it's the Allbound motion, and the Allbound motion speaks into like inbound and outbound being these two disjointed motions is not something that really works for the new age in which our buyers are in, right? Because we have fed them so much information and they have a lot of different avenues that they can go through for purchases, for solutions, for comparison, etc. And so really the best way to be able to generate pipeline is pretty much to be everywhere at the right time and to the right person. And so what that looks like is you are creating signal-based list building activities to be able to feed information into your system. And when a signal triggers, you are immediately surfacing that company into your BDRs or sending automated outbound campaigns. And you're weaving that in with paid media retargeting campaigns that then allow you to again, that be everywhere. And so all of these different strategies, I mean, are much broader than this, but that's sort of like the gist of it. And we're articulating all of those different motions with Clay and HubSpot at the core. But we're also using tools like HeyReach. We use sequencers. We do a lot of different things to have that sense of like being everywhere through LinkedIn comments, emails, calls, and then the retargeting from paid media. So that's a little bit of what we do.
I am now going to put you on the spot, so I apologize in advance. But if you can do this I think will paint the picture really well. And this is not the first time I've asked you for this, so get ready to laugh through this one, and I can help maybe if it'll help you.
I'm bracing myself.
A contextual example of an Allbound success, like for me to start off, I'm the buyer. I need a cooler, right? What does that look like from the buyer's perspective? I just want to get a certain product. Maybe I don't have the information, but what does that look like as far as a successful exchange of value or revenue to a company that might sell a product, a cooler, for example?
So let's say you need a cooler. The first thing that you're probably going to do is go online and search for coolers, right? So that's a signal that we can track, which is keywords that you are entering in Google to see what type of coolers you're looking for. And we can bring your information into the system and enrich it. Once we enrich it, we can then put you into retargeting campaigns for paid media so that you start seeing the different coolers that we have available for you in all of the different places that you're showing up, right? So like Google, maybe you're in Meta, maybe exactly. Okay. So that's that. And then all of a sudden, without you providing any information whatsoever, you start getting emails from us and telling you, hey, look at this new cooler and look at these colors if maybe you're interested. And depending on what you click on or how you open that email, you're maybe receiving another one, or somebody's calling you, or somebody is sending you a message through, in this case, it's B2C, but essentially like through LinkedIn, right? And so within a month of you looking up that Kool-Aid, we have your information, we have your engagement with our information, you're seeing us everywhere, we're pinging you, we are contacting you, and most likely, because probably a lot of these other companies are not doing this at that detail right now, you will purchase from the company that you have information about.
And so the last part of this, because I know it's not the best example in the world, just for a cooler like Yeti or for a cup, my kids love the Stanley or Awala cups, right? That's the incumbent. So there's either no knowledge at all, like I don't even know what it could be, or an incumbent of I only see Yeti, I only see this product. Do you have a way? I mean, is part of the strategy like unseating the incumbent or creating context around the difference with that? Because the messaging, the copy, the who you're targeting, like that's all part also of what you do, not just setting up the systems and the technical elements and tools, but Rob would be more likely to buy X product versus the incumbent. Can you talk to that just a little bit?
Are you setting me up for all of the right answers?
Yes.
So one of the things that I didn't mention is that when you're Googling for that Kool-Aid, because we've done SEO and GEO work, you most likely received information about our product through Google AI. Or if you went through ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude, our GEO efforts would have already surfaced information about our account. And the reason why I love that question so much is because whenever we do GEO audits for companies, usually the awareness stage or the educational stage, especially if they're not the incumbent product, is lacking, right? They don't have content around awareness. They don't have content around that really top of funnel educational piece that needs to be there. And when we tap into that awareness stage of the content, we see their AI presence skyrocket. And that's usually what allows us to do the education even before we get into the outreach and the paid media and all of those things.
The awareness kind of becomes the education to a point. Right, if I was going to ask, like, who is the best person at both like Allbound and RevOps in the world? And then I click and I see Diana Gonzalez on LinkedIn. And then I'm like, well, I haven't heard of her. And then I go somewhere else, Google, and I see your name again. And then I ask a friend and see a Slack group. And I keep seeing that response. at some point I have no choice but to further educate
at least
or explore.
Question,
Yes.
at least think about it, right? Yeah. And to that point, ChatGPT has become one of our top deal generators as a professional services company because people are doing exactly that. What is the best HubSpot implementation company in the US? What is the best Allbound? Like that's literally what people are doing in ChatGPT, and we're surfacing and they're coming to us.
Love that. I know we're out of time. So if you want to use ChatGPT to learn more about Diana, she'll show up at the top of any search for Allbound, for RevOps, for Rev Partners, for Clay. I mean, basically anything, she should be showing up. She should also, if you happen to type into Claude or GPT, who's Rob's favorite person in the world, she's going to be right up there at the top of that.
I want to see content about that.
It's coming. Diana, thank you for joining Numbers Known. We've got your numbers for today, and we will try to make this a recurring thing, is participating in your content more often.
I love that. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you on stage very soon.